Good morning. This is Josh Hayes with Hedge Plus, and here's today's market monitor. Well, the day I know personally I've been waiting for at least 4 or 5 months now finally came yesterday. This is what took place yesterday is what I've been saying and calling for and doing podcast appearances months ago on including market to market on the last day of the year, talking about what was the intent of these tariffs and what I thought would be the result. I have to admit, one thing I was wrong about is the fact that even took place or took in effect at all. It never made sense that these countries would want to face these kinds of tariffs. It would make much more sense just to make the deal. Instead, I don't know what kind of collectivism happened, but they decided to stand their ground until the very last minute, let the tariffs take effect, and then all come rushing in to make deals. It never made sense that these countries could withstand tariffs for even a week. And that's what we saw. So I didn't think it was ever going to be about putting these tariffs on permanently. I've always pushed the idea that the tariffs were to get new trade deals done, fairer trade deals, balance this out, use this leverage while we could, while we have it. It won't be there forever. Now with these trade deals, we've likely secured, a future for American exports for a long time, and it's not done yet, and we're not out of the woods, but we're making the progress that we needed to, and it's relieving the markets of the stress they were under. And then the other amazing aspect about yesterday is the other shoe dropped, where I'm starting to see people in our business and our industry start to recognize that if China doesn't buy from us and they start buying from Brazil more, well, Brazil only has so much. And if China doesn't buy from us but buys elsewhere, the prices there are going to go up, which is going to shift demand to us from other countries. And that's how this all ties together. As Trump relieves the tariffs on other countries, they are now free to buy from us. So even if China doesn't come back to us later in the year, which I do still believe they will, after a trade deal is struck with them, it's just going to move the pieces around the table, and it still always ends up in the U.S. So that's fantastic news. I'm happy for all you guys, and I'm glad that we're going to probably start to be able to shift our focus more to fundamentals again. Getting back to the notion we're not out of the woods, there's always going to be things going on, right? So there's dominoes that fall, and wind blows one direction, other things happen. So with oil prices coming down, which was one of the things Trump wanted to see to offset any potential inflation caused by the tariffs. Well, that means ethanol production is starting to slide. Sales are slowing. That may continue. Oil prices probably not going to go up too dramatically because there is going to be world economic slowdown, mainly from China. So as there's economic slowdown, it's going to keep oil prices low. Even if Americans don't slow down their driving and everyone travels from Memorial Day weekend, it still might hold us back just a little bit because of the fact that in other parts of the world, this is going to slow their economies down. Again, primarily China, and their consumption is massive. So if their economy suffers, which it appears darn set to do, especially the more stubborn they are, that slowdown might be felt for a while, and that also trickles down to ethanol. And then just the fact that the Trump administration signaled stronger consideration for farmer aid payments kind of cements the idea that they might be needed. I'm still hopeful that can be avoided. That could be more of a negotiating ploy than anything. It could be saying, hey, China, we're ready to help bail our farmers out. So don't think that we won't hold our ground. That could be what that is. I'm hopeful that that's what it is. But in the meantime, as with everything, people will take that to mean that the worst is going to happen, and the market's obviously going to account for that. So that will be something we'll be watching going forward. But all in all, a great day yesterday. Looking at the weather, it's never great to see the U.S. on here twice, but that is the reality right now. Um, the flooded areas are supposed to dry out by Saturday, Sunday. We're still going to take time, to see how when will they be able to get in the fields, right? And anything that in these worst hit areas, anything that was already planted is going to have to be replanted. And we're also facing hot and heat and heavy winds in hard red winter wheat areas, and that combination dries things out very quickly. Not something that was needed. We got a little bit of relief and some moisture, and to have it go away so quickly, takes away any of the positive effects from any recent rains we've gotten in those areas. And as far as South America goes, both Argentina and Brazil, Argentina's getting great weather for harvest, cool and dry, and Brazil is warmer and they are getting some rain. There's taking that pressure off of them. This is their last monsoon month, so they need it to rain there. Can't have it dry out too soon, and they are getting that rain after a brief scare. So things are progressing well there. All the more reason, by the way, that we needed what was done with these tariffs to happen. If Brazil's going to have zero weather issues, and countries could have just kept, minimizing their purchases from the U.S., we might have been in a little bit of trouble later in the year. But now we've got markets opened up, countries that don't typically buy from us set to buy from us, and that's going to offset some of the pain or the loss from China. And again, I don't think China is going to be completely absent at the end of the year. I think they'll be pretty much forced to buy from the U.S. And I think this will be resolved by then. But that all ties together. Taking a look at the prices, the all green, all positive sessions continue. We're on quite a nice rebound. We're getting back to where we should have been had all this not happened. Again, it was necessary to happen. It's for a good reason. But it's nice to see fundamentals showing up in prices again, right? So you see we're up across the board this morning. Context to compared to where we were 24 hours ago, corn is up about 7 cents over this time yesterday. Soybeans are about 23 cents higher over this time yesterday. And wheat is about 4 cents higher than yesterday. Kind of amazing. About 23 hours ago, we had the announcement that China or the Trump was raising our tariffs back as a counter measure to what China announced to 125%. And in the markets started to tank immediately. What was amazing, though, was in 10 minutes, they were back positive. It's the market starting to understand that China just doesn't hold that much leverage, and that this tit for tat was going to hurt them way more than it hurt us. And then we saw what happened. Trump immediately followed that up with the release of tariffs on everyone else, and we soared. So this is great to see, and hope it continues. That's all for today. Have a great day, everyone. We will try to get the grain gauntlet out today, the Q&A. We've apologized for some technical difficulties. We're going to get it out as soon as possible. And then, of course, it is report day. So we will have everything, all the numbers out as quickly as possible today. We'll have our reaction out as quickly as possible via the broadcast. And we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.